It's a chilling reality. U.S. Army bases in Iraq and Syria are under constant drone attack. This isn't a dystopian fiction or a plot from a Hollywood movie. It's the alarming truth that military personnel on these bases grapple with daily. Since the onset of the conflict between Israel and Hamas, the frequency of these attacks has escalated dramatically. We're talking about more than 60 attacks, a daily barrage of terror raining down from the skies. Imagine the psychological toll on the soldiers, the constant state of high alert. These attacks are more than just a show of force. They disrupt the operations of the U.S. Army in the region. They impact strategic planning, troop morale, and the ability to carry out missions effectively. The drone attacks are like a sinister clock, ticking away, a grim reminder of the relentless threat looming overhead. As the sun sets each day, the question remains, when will the next drone strike occur? To understand this relentless onslaught, we must journey back to the birth of the conflict. It was on a day in early October, precisely the 7th, that the war between Israel and Hamas ignited. This conflict, seemingly far removed from the sands of Iraq and Syria, would have profound impacts on the U.S. bases stationed in these regions. Drone attacks, a relatively modern form of warfare, began to rain down on the U.S. bases. The frequency of these attacks was staggering, averaging one per day since the inception of the Israel-Hamas conflict. Such a consistent and relentless wave of attacks was unprecedented, turning the bases into virtual targets in a high-stakes game of cat and mouse. As the drone attacks escalated, a group emerged from the shadows claiming responsibility. Iraq's Islamic resistance, a collective that had been relatively silent till now, stepped into the limelight. They claimed ownership of the drone attacks, a bold move that brought them squarely into the crosshairs of international attention. The involvement of Iraq's Islamic resistance in these attacks added a new layer of complexity to the conflict. It forced the world to reassess the nature of the war, which was no longer confined to the borders of Israel and Hamas. The war had spilled over, reaching far beyond its initial boundaries. The drone attacks became a symbol of this expansion, a chilling reminder of the war's far-reaching impacts. With every passing day of the conflict, the drone attacks have become an alarming part of the war narrative. The aftermath of these attacks is far-reaching and devastating. The relentless drone strikes have left a significant mark on the U.S. Army's infrastructure in Iraq and Syria. Army bases, once bustling with activity, are now littered with the remnants of these assaults. The damage isn't just physical, it's psychological too. Imagine being a soldier stationed in these bases, living under the constant threat of another attack. The fear, the uncertainty, the constant need to be on high alert. It's a heavy burden to bear. The impact on morale cannot be underestimated. Beyond the soldiers, these attacks disrupt the overall operations of the U.S. Army. Resources that could be used elsewhere are instead redirected to repair and fortify these bases, to treat the injured, and to improve defenses against future attacks. The ripple effects reach far beyond the immediate area. The instability these attacks cause can be felt throughout the region, as other nations grapple with the potential for violence spilling over their borders. These attacks not only damage infrastructure, but they also pose a significant threat to the safety of the troops and the stability of the region. In the face of relentless attacks, the situation on the ground is complex and fraught. Let's take a moment to recap the main points we've discussed. U.S. Army bases in Iraq and Syria are under daily attack since the war between Israel and Hamas began in early October. That's more than 60 attacks in just over 2 months. Iraq's Islamic resistance claimed responsibility for these attacks, adding yet another layer to the intricate tapestry of conflict in the region. The impact of these attacks is far-reaching. The infrastructure of the U.S. Army bases has been significantly damaged, which poses a substantial challenge to the operations and morale of the troops stationed there. Yet, despite the frequency and intensity of these attacks, the U.S. Army remains stationed in these volatile regions, a testament to their resilience and commitment to their mission. However, the situation remains fluid, and the stakes continue to escalate with each passing day. As the drone attacks continue to shake the region, the world watches on, waiting for a resolution to this escalating conflict.